Well, we're live here. Welcome to In the Studio. I'd like to welcome some new members from different parts of the country and Canada. I was going to write down the states and the countries, and I can't remember. But anyway, we got two new ones from Canada, and some people from the Midwest and Michigan and Wisconsin. So keep those cards and letters coming. I have been very unhappy lately with my own progress as a painter. And what I realized, I'm losing a little bit of something that I used to have many years ago when I worked exclusively with a brown undertone. I was much more inventive, and it was a deeper, I think, and more profound artistic statement. Now I'm kind of feel like I'm doing scenery, because a lot of my paintings are just getting repetitive with sunsets and trees and water, which I like those three elements, but I need to elevate the emotional aspect to the trees, water, sky, sunset. And there's only one way to do that, in my view. And that is to immerse yourself first in your natural surroundings. Breathe it in, take it in. I particularly like fall. I like the autumn. I like woods. I like leaves crackling under my feet. I like that October air. Not too windy. I get earaches in the wind, so I like a kind of a, sometimes even I get that Indian summer, even into November. Hardly any leaves on trees, and it's just, there's a feeling I can't explain, and everyone's felt it, but I want my paintings to give a feeling. And if it's about winter, that feeling. If it's spring, that kind of feeling that we've all experienced and still do. How can we get that in our work? And I still look at the great masters, and I just looked at an Innis, which I had never ever laid eyes on before, and I was mesmerized by the inventiveness of the composition. Believe it or not, that's an Innis. Well, I got some marks on the outside, but he's got this tree, he's got this horizon, he's got a big tree in the distance, but it's almost like a de Kooning or something, or a Franz Klein. It's got all the great abstract elements as a base, and then a little bit of detail and rendering of the natural forms of trees and clouds. Here's a nice little painting by a Czechoslovakian guy. Very, very, again, geometrically, abstractly arranged composition. All of these actually inspire me to push myself further. Even this of an artist I've just recently discovered, a new one again. I'm not going to give any names out yet because I don't want to get you all confused, but I'll get you the names of these people when I start doing my Master of the Month. Look at how it's not a finished painting, but really doesn't need any more. It's just very geometric, abstract, pyramid, work in progress, but strong, elevating just the regular natural world into higher art, in my view. Even a photograph, which I have a couple here. You know, maybe doctored up a little in the dark room back in those days. And this very artistic, the way there's lost and found, beautiful contrasts. You can see that he dodged and burned because the skin of this man's very dark, but he dodged it so it didn't expose strong there. But look at the art that he created. This man's name, I think, is Plushkow, if you want to look him up. I forget his first name. So, as I begin today in my 1629 in the frame, which I really like, I have to become intimately involved from the get-go, from the first strokes. And the best way to do that, I'm going to dip into some paint thinner. I'm going to get a, maybe a 4-level dark. In other words, not dark, 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 but crank it up to level 4, or maybe 5, halfway. I just want a gray, kind of a brown. You can choose the stain that you want to use. Everybody likes different stain undertones. It could be all light. Someone emailed me recently and asked about a high-keyed.
Hey, Dad.
Hello?
It's Dawn. I'm just grabbing something from Mom.
Great.
Bye.
Help yourself. Bye. You can work in a higher key, as I've demonstrated before. I can do that another day, but that could be your darkest dark, and then you can work up to your lightest light. You know. Anyway, intimately involved. I'm going to get more green into this because that's my favorite undertone. Is a gray, brownish green. So I'm just using phthalo, some red, maybe even a little black, maybe some burnt sienna as a base to start with, which is going to be very, very dark. I'm going to warm it up with orange, and then I'm going to add white. I'm going to get the desired level of medium, more brown, more black, more chirp. Just play with it till it sings to you. And you sang for me. Let's try this one. This is going to be look a little darker. So, excuse me while I kiss this guy, because I need to get involved here. I can't be talking. This is how you got to do it. I'm convinced. This is just how you have to do it. I mean, I don't know any other way. Oh, I got to shut up. I have nothing in my head, as usual, and nothing in front of me to look at. I have no hidden photo references, and if I do, I'll turn them around because I don't want any. I just want it all to come from within. It's the only place you're going to find greatness, in my view, when you're conjuring up a landscape composition. Even if you're conjuring up a still life sometimes, or a figure, or any painting. In fact, the abstraction should be here before you even know what you're going to paint, in my view. For instance, the Franz Klein thing is this. So if you get shapes and darks and lights to work with, then you can go and you can lose edge, define edges. You can start with a major abstract flow, and then you just start developing from there. And take it where you want it to go. So, again, intimately involved with bounty, too. I like the, for some reason, I really like this right here, this half-toned, wet thing. So I'm just going to play with these shapes and play with things. Take my bounty, too. Stand back. If I see things right now, even at this early stage, I may start even developing if I feel that they're valuable to the composition. Whatever it is, a shape, a tone, a halftone, depiction of something from nature. I see something right here. I'm just going to grab it because it looks like a tree. I don't know where it came from, but that's what I saw. I see dark here. I like that, actually. This is how we paint. I'm going to also start to add more paint, less dripping, if I feel like I have something to define, which I think I do. So I think this is crucial, right in the center of the canvas. Almost the exact center, but lower. I want this to be prominent, right here. I just happen to like paintings that have very sharp horizon. And all the masters that I studied utilized, all the tonalists, they utilize that quite often. Build it slowly. I have a dry, clean, got a little thinner on it. So maybe I want to experiment with some bright passages, lighter. I want to cover the canvas tone. I get rid of that white. I can do it with this brush. This tree's going up. It's going to connect to a cloud up here, I guess. So it's the only way, man, the only way. I'm not looking at it. Maybe this is going to be some kind of, I don't know what. Maybe there's a tree here. I see drips, I make trees. I'm going to get another brush. I'm going to make small adjustments in some tones, keeping it very much an undertone, but just with a tint of color. I want it to be, I'm after something, let's put it that way, okay? Look what I see over here. See, you cannot, I see this, and I see this. I see this, I see this. I haven't shut up, have I? Well, this could be one of them famous J.F. Murphy trees. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've immersed myself in the tonalist painters over the last 20, 25 years. Ever since I saw my first Bruce Crane / first Innes. I didn't know Innes was a tonalist and still technically probably not a pure tonalist. Great landscape painter, best of all time. But then there was all these regional tonalists, New Englandy, Midwesty, and then that's when I got to the Bruce Crane and a few others, Wyant and Murphy and Eaton. But it was finding the way they portrayed nature that intrigued me the most. I got the most emotional aspect out of the landscape painting from them. And that's a lot of the techniques, a lot of the way they depict trees and water is the techniques that I've developed on my own and utilize, hopefully, in some fashion or another in my own work. So let's try this. I see all of a sudden a branch coming down. Did I say I like autumn? Okay, just checking. I still can have the angle that I wanted, but I just made a few little changes here. And anything right now is in such a state of flux that I can change it in a heartbeat if I so desire. Even these thin tree branches and thick shapes. If I don't like them, I can change them. I want to get the Murphy thing going, see? I do have things in my mind from other painters, which, you know, I mean, did Michelangelo think like Da Vinci or vice versa? I think they were influenced each other. Raphael and Correggio or whoever else was around then. Titian. Let's get some of these wispy trees. Let's keep it dynamic too, you know. There's a light tone in here. Every little aspect is important. Every little thing you do affects the overall feel of the painting. Every value, every little chroma, every color, every shape. That's why I don't feel like I love paintings that are just undertoned in brown monochromatically. Because once you start adding color, you lose a lot, in my view. Did I say that most of what I'm saying is just my own opinion? Doesn't mean I'm right. I just happen to like it. So now I see a tree out back here taking shape. So I'm going to wet my little bounty. And there's no rush, by the way, to get this all complete here. I'm going to come into this tree now and edge it a bit. Meanwhile, covering over some of the white. The top of this tree is going to end up being wrapped into a cloud, I suppose. And the horizon here has to kiss the sky also. Don't want to overdo the trunks yet. I see a drip, so maybe there's another tree. Let's fill that in up there. If you look at the inices and the cranes, if you get lucky enough to see some of their unfinished works, you'll see this a lot of times, more often than not. Because all these little insignificant appearing strokes actually can speak volumes. Innis trees, Murphy trees, Wyant trees, Sheehan trees. Covering over, covering over. I haven't really worked like this in a long time. It's kind of fun. I highly recommend it. Even if you wipe the whole thing off with turpentine rag after you're done. Take a picture of it, wipe it all off, try another one. You always have the picture to do it again, right? If you really like the way it came out, work from the photo. You could actually just ad infinitum work this way on one canvas. I'm just getting a gray, don't panic, you don't see my palette, but I'm just getting a gray darker for my branching. Brown. Just to put back in here. If you really study these guys, you know, you'll see how they varied all of their the branching of trees. Like there'll be a place like right here that will be almost like pitch black, like right here. And that's it. The rest of it will be half-tony. I'm going to get rid of that for now. Or there might be a little more dark in here. And there might be a really, really, really dark, which is just transparent oxide red, basically, and green. So right here, see how dark we're going to get here. Keeping in mind that there might be a trunk I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose now the excitement that I feel the way this is developing. So I got to kind of now I've created a monster because I can't be as free as I want it to be. So, which is okay. I'm getting more of what I actually set out to try to get. Now, is there going to be a path? Is there going to be a little bit of water, I hope? See the nice dark underneath the trees? The trees are up here, there's dark under. Then the land comes out, it's going to lighten up and maybe have a little more tint of color in it. Some yellows, maybe more greens. Just a little here, a little there, salt, pepper, salt, pepper. You could even do this if you really want to. And who says you can't? Who says you can't? You can do anything you want because you are the mighty creator. Thanks, Bob. Mr. Ross. Oh, actually, it was Bill. Well, they both said it. I might want to do this. Number one, because I can. And number two, I feel it. Just a little bit of grass coming in to play. Let's modulate that with a little orange green. Modulate, modulate. A little orangey green. I guess there's a fence out here. I don't know. It was a drip, I think, or something. Just be free. You know, if I make an errant stroke somewhere or errant color, maybe there's too much green over here, so what do? I get rid of it. I take it off. See, look. All done. Back where I started. Tinted over with my brown. My wet brown, that is. See, look. Kind of like that color anyway. I know one thing. Now my eye, I step back. My eye is telling me that there's grasses, there's trees, there's going to be branches coming up here somewhere. I can indicate them with a knife if I want. There. Stuff happening. I need stuff happening. If I don't want them to stay, I just erase them. See that? Your knife's an eraser too. Let's get a little bit of foreground. Maybe this tree will reflect in here. Get a little more of the darker color here. Wouldn't this be fun if you could just had unlimited canvases? Stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of canvases. Like hundreds. All stretched, ready to go. So every day, you just put one up and you play like this. You do it again, you put one up, you play again. You know, out of 40 or 50, you're going to get a couple of winners, right? A couple of gems. I see a dark tree coming up here, so without further delay, I didn't want it to be red tree though, I want it to be green. See? Made a mistake. Don't panic. I got too much alizarin on my brush for some reason. I got to get rid of that alizarin, or I can use that alizarin. Maybe it's going to be a bright red tree. Now I can't get it off of my brush here. Where's my brown undertone? Time out. I lost my undertone. Let's try that again. Back in the land of the living. Okay, I work no area of this canvas is insignificant right now. From over here to every corner, to the middle, to the main theme, and the secondary theme of this tree, everything's vitally important. So, I work all over from here to here. I see tree branches going this way. I see tree branches going that way. I see tree branches going this way. Some are lighter, some are darker. Some speak louder than others. Autumn. My favorite time of year. I'm just searching with this brush. Searching, searching. This tree still I want to come down here. I'm going to get another brush. I'm going to get more white. Still working into my undertone. Maybe add a little touch of blue, yellow into that undertoned mix. I just want harmonious tones right now. That I don't want any discord among my halftones and lights and darks. So I think this is going to be an important vertical in this whole painting. So let's go back and get that right. Like that. Sometimes it's fun just to use a tiny little brush. You can get all kinds of things happening here. And you can use it for darks and for lights too. Like this tree, I started to put a branch in here. So I need a little bit of dark. Let's try that again. And then maybe there's some clump of grass here that tree comes out of. Maybe in this mid-ground here, there's some darks. And then I was going to get my palette knife again and get a grassy color. I don't know what color this is. Yellowy, orangey, greenish. More on the yellowy, ochre side. So maybe some raw sienna went into there. Out here. My eye says, put it in there. So we get this. I love this color in the autumn, to be honest with you. I don't want to separate front from back, so somehow I have to be able to get through. And I'll start sprinkling that around. Also, as autumn grasses. Covering over as much of the white canvas as I possibly can, in the corners especially. eye has to be able to travel through the whole painting and have fun doing it. And if you find any place where it hits a stumbling block, you have to open the door and let it through. I'm going to go back to the top of this tree again because I liked it before and I don't love it now. Yeah. Let me try a bold spigot, a little bit of water, rather bold stroke, hopefully, just to see what it does. And then kind of doctor it up a little. I would definitely paint this differently if I didn't have a camera running and people, a class full of people, because first of all, I don't have to think about saying anything. And I would just be in a Zen state. And my Zen would take over. And just get immersed much more than having to, oh, there's people here. Oh, there's people there. So how do I make interesting water happen here? And how much of this is going to be water? How much is going to be grass? What shape doth water take? I still like this tree for some reason, coming down here. So I'm going to play with edging and hopefully resolve this water problem I'm having. I don't have to call the water department just yet. Make sure I can fix this. How far back? How far forward? How much water? How little water? It's crucial to the elements of the composition. Crucial.